Alright, I'm going to be doing a live recording of this. I'll try to keep my thoughts a little bit concise and shorter, because we have a little bit to go through today, because the flow of logic for offense is a little strange at times, especially in a game as fast-paced as Street Fighter 6. We'll be using Akuma as our example today, and the example we'll mainly be using is standing medium punch, but I'll kind of touch on some other topics here as well. So, let's first assume that our opponent is going to block, and we are +1. So right now, it is our turn, we are the aggressor, and we have to make a snap decision of what is our opponent going to do when we're plus, because we are favored mathematically at an advantage. So if we just assume our opponent will block the entire time, we want to do something either save, in case as like a failsafe, because we're not sure, like, are they going to like do something crazy, are they going to like randomly uppercut me out of nowhere? So if you want something a little bit low committal, a lot of Shoto characters have the string of a plus move into a crouch or a standing light punch into a standing light kick. While this doesn't net you a lot of damage on hit, as an example here, it doesn't give you a lot of damage, but it's safe, and it gives you a lot of flexibility, because it eventually can convert into better positioning and better offensive flow, which I'll show in a little bit. But let's just assume they're going to block the entire time in this scenario. If you want to be safe, you can just do something like this, and you can actually even extend it a little bit further into something like a fireball. Your turn is over, however, there's nothing that can hit you from this angle and this range, so like you are safe. It's just no longer your turn, and there's a little bit of advanced stuff that can kind of lead after in like the mind games of the flow of combat and turns, but we're not going to really talk about that too deeply. I want to focus here more on offense. So we can do something like this if we want to be safe and just keep it simple. But now let's assume that this person really likes to mash on block. Well, you know, like they're impatient, they just want to like do this all day. Suddenly that string converts into an uppercut. It's like, okay, cool. But I don't really get too much more after it. I can drive rush behind it, and we'll kind of talk about setups here in a little bit. However, it's not as great. But you're gonna ask me, like, Zephyr, how do I even like react to like this? Like how do I react to the DP from this scenario? And the answer is you're not reacting to your medium punch here, or whatever plus button you're using. You're not reacting to this. You're reacting to like the total like hits that you are kind of doing here. I'm not reacting to stand medium punch if it hits or not. I'm reacting to this. I'm just gonna do this no matter what, because I've chosen, like, I'm not separating, I'm not treating these as two separate moves. I'm treating this as one total move. Because reacting to this is like not possible. Like, unless like, you know, you're Lashar or something, or Mena RD or whoever. But I'm using this entire string as one giant check. Because I promise you, if you spend maybe about 10 minutes just practicing like this string as an example, you will eventually be able to react. It shouldn't take you a very long time to kind of get this as a reaction. So let's go back to our example here of, let's just say they like to mash. We can potentially get more value. So let's just say, you know, I don't want to do uppercut because I want to get more pressure. So in this case, Akuma, depending if they're standing or they're not, let's just assume they're crouching in this case, because Akuma has a very interesting interaction here. Medium Tatsu is really good for Akuma right now because it gets him a lot of setup, but it doesn't hit crouchers. So in the case of Akuma, sometimes you have to like maybe adjust, and this is character specific, so don't take this as like gospel for every character. But in this case, I need to do stand medium kick because this will actually prop them up. So if I do this, and I double dash forward, you'll notice that I'm +3. This is how you continue offense, more or less, I would say, in 95% of your games, and 95% of your scenarios. So the combos that you choose are important, because they should give you one of two things. They should either give you a positioning advantage where you can strike further, or it gets you your most possible damage. So in the case of Akuma, if I don't dash here, you'll see I'm +41. So that means I get 41 frames to do anything before this Mai will get back up and, like, be ready to fight. So in the case of Akuma, his forward dash is 19 frames. So if we do that twice, it's 38. 38 minus 41, or I guess 41 minus 38 if you flip it around, is 3. And we can verify this by just repeating this process. And so this combo doesn't do a lot of damage. You can see it does 1620 here at the top. However, we now have a positioning advantage. So let's just say this Mai really likes to hit buttons. They hit buttons on wake up, they hit buttons on block. What does this look like if we kind of put these two together? Notice how they get hit because I'm sticking a button out. So one thing we have to kind of factor in for offense is when someone is getting up from the ground. Akuma's standing medium punch, and this can apply to any particular button in this case. A lot of characters have different setups, and I recommend looking at character combo guides because they'll usually talk about their get up, or okizeme, or oki for short. So because Mai is getting up at 41 frames, when we double dash, we have 3 frames to our advantage. If we stick out this medium punch, or even this medium punch, we are at 6. So this 6 essentially minus 3 is 3. The fastest move in the game is 4 frames. So this will connect no matter what. We are now in a scenario, and I'll try to actually fix this right now. So I'm going to turn this off, just so I can kind of show you a little bit better. Now we're back in that exact same scenario where we were at +1. So that sequence that we started from the very beginning brought us to the exact same scenario, but in the corner. So now we can try to get another plus frame. We can go low. We could walk up and throw. And that starts the loop of your offense. Your combos should lead into scenarios that get you more plus frames or more combos. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. So I'm going to have my block, and then we're going to have her mash on block and on wake up. So this person has no clue what they're doing. They don't know frame data. They don't understand plus and minus frames. And they're just hammering buttons away. They don't understand scenarios. So let's just take like a quick look and see what this looks like. So based on those 2 interactions alone, Mai has lost about half her health. And this all started from... Let me just turn this off really quickly. So she has lost half her health, and that all of this started from doing just this into a jab. That's it. That's all we did. This is why, like, having a very strong understanding of frame data and knowing, like, when it's your turn and when it's not your turn is very important. And now, there are ways around this, so if you are plus, let's just say, hypothetically, and your opponent knows that you're plus, they don't want to take your mix-up, they don't want to deal with anything, they can try to get out of it with a reversal. So if I try to do the exact same thing, I'm gonna get clobbered. And, like, that's okay. Like, it happens. Like, you should be doing this in your games as well. If you know someone's plus, you should do an uppercut. But what if your opponent is recognizing that you're aware of this, or vice versa? What if you know? You can stop your offense and then just, like, let them do an uppercut. And then you get a nice little punish for it. It's beautiful. So this is the general basic string of pressure. It's, if you are plus, you want to extend and force your opponent into bad decisions. So I will just kind of roughly go over a basic few examples of when you are plus, you can try a couple things. So first, let's just say I'm plus here, and my opponent likes to block a lot. I'm going to walk up and throw. If I'm a little bit if I'm a little scared, not sure what they're going to do, I can just be safe. Do one jab, maybe add a light kick in, or if I want to make some distance, I'll throw a fireball in. But you can notice how essentially my pressure has like 4 different sequences there. It's, I can start with this and just stop. I can do this and stop. I can keep going. I can keep going here. I can briefly interrupt, go for a throw. I can do one of those jabs, go into a throw. So the next thing that we really have to touch upon with offense is knowing how to extend and steal pressure. Let's take a very prime candidate example that you will see in a lot of professional like gameplay videos and even like higher elo Bisons. So let's use Bison as a different example of a person that really abuses plus frames. And this is revolving around his back heavy kick. This button is +1 as you can tell. It's really, really good. It's a little slow, yes, however, you're only using it when you're up close because it's a close range normal. So you have probably seen some amount of videos of Bisons just doing this like 3 times in a row. And the reason why is because the defender has to assume that if Bison wants to be safe, he's just going to do like 2 jabs. Because if you are mashing, let's just say, and because he's +2, you essentially are in the same scenario as if you ate a back kick. So nothing has changed, however you took some damage. It's, 11%, so it's not the end of the world. But we could, in theory, just loop this forever. And this scenario won't change. And this is why, like, you can't really mash when your opponents are plus. In this case, I delayed my jab. Don't worry about that too much. But this is the issue. It's, you have to make a decision whether something or not is going to be repeated. And this is essentially what we would call stealing a turn. Because this move is a 10 frame normal. So anything 9 will trade, 8 or faster will beat it. So if, for example, we have my do crouching medium punch and hers is 6 frames, if the my player thinks that the Bison will do this twice, they can beat it. So this is where the mind games begin. It's understanding how greedy is a player sometimes, and how badly do they want to like extend pressure. Because now Mai would just be able to get a full combo off of it from like double medium punch into like the little cartwheel kick. However, if she guesses wrong, she gets put into the blender. So as the offensive player, you have to make a decision of, does my opponent like to block a lot? If so, I want to take more plus frames and like take my turn longer. Does my opponent like to mash a lot? I want to play it safe and just take free damage. In the case of Bison, he can actually chain a crouching light punch into crouching medium punch on counter hit if someone's mashing. And this goes back to the Akuma example, where if you don't know if someone's blocking, they may or may not get hit. Like, you're not quite sure. And, like, learning how to react to it kind of becomes more of a natural experience over time, and you have to kind of practice it a little bit. So let's just take a really quick look at throws as an example as well. I won't really go into too much because it's very similar to light punches. So if you represent a plus move into a throw, a lot of people, if you do it too much, people will start teching your throws. Like, that is just the nature of the game. That's just the nature of adaptation from your opponent. Some characters get the privilege of being able to walk out of their plus moves. As you can see, I take a minor step back with Bison, and then the throw whiffs. However, if I stood there, I would get thrown. And we can use this to our advantage. And that's like a basic shimmy from like a plus frame scenario, where if your opponent's throw happy, you can start to do a lot more like heinous things. I think this one also doesn't work yet. So yeah, some characters don't have the privilege on some of their normals, like Bison standing heavy punch, he would have to backdash. However, the backdash allows him to kind of do the same thing, while also protecting himself from a throw. And there are callouts that your opponents can do to get it, but that's a little bit higher level, and you're not going to experience that until, like, most likely, like, I would say Master. And yeah, don't really worry too much about like getting responded to first and foremost. You want to build the offense first before you learn how your offense is countered. So to summarize the video, when I'm in plus, what is my opponent doing? How are they reacting? If my opponent blocks a lot, I should either continue to take plus frames and steal my turn, or throw them. If my opponent likes to mash a lot, I should do something safe and basically keep pressure going. If my opponent is throw happy, I should find a scenario where I can walk out and learn how to punish the throw attempt and the throw bait. Hey guys, it's Zephyr here with the post-live recording commentary. As you can see, I added examples of counter hit scenarios for each character up to Sea Viper as of this recording. These aren't meant to be something to specifically copy, but to show you how characters can get additional distance and damage depending on what buttons are used. I added some fun situations, like a safe jump setup with Aki, fireball setups with Guile and Ken, and command grab situations with the grapplers. There are also a few trade scenarios which can make you plus enough to strike again. For more specific details, there are plenty of character specialists on YouTube that will show you more in-depth setups and combos that you can apply what you've learned in this video today. I hope this video gave you a better idea on how to generate offense, and I hope you get boatloads of LP from it. I apologize for not uploading since roughly Evo. Long story short, life wasn't great the past half year, but I am back and I'm looking to make more content again. I'll be streaming once to twice a week on YouTube and Twitch, and I plan on setting up open lobbies or doing some short coaching sessions if there are enough interest during those streams. So feel free to swing on by if you have any questions or just want to say hi. If you have any suggestions on topics that you would like me to cover or explain in detail, make sure to like the video and leave a comment letting me know what you'd like to see next. I appreciate the support from before, and I'm looking forward to making more content in 2026. Until next time, see you in the next video. Take care.